The humble van makes the world go round, or at least in the UK it does. And when I mention the word van to you, what's the one you immediately think of? It's this, of course, the Ford Transit. Now this one is one of the sportier versions available, but does that stop it from being ultimately practical? Let's find out. This Transit's race red colour certainly makes it stand out, as do the black racing stripes at the front. You even get 17-inch alloy wheels to add to the overall look. It's certainly not one for shrinking violets, and if you're planning on making a low-profile one on a job, this is probably not the best version to go for. The interior of the Transit follows a pretty tried and tested formula. You've got 3 seats up front and a great amount of visibility out of the windscreen. However, there are some neat touches in this one too. For instance, you've got this fold-down table here, which you can put your laptop or some drinks, and you've also got some clever under-seat storage under this seat to keep things out of sight should you want them to be. Now, one of the biggest features too on this car is a reversing camera, which is incredibly helpful on a van like this, even though this one is a little more compact than others. Now, the inside of the Transit is pretty much a blank canvas. You can do anything you like with it. For instance, you can pack it full of anything you can think of, or you can have racking fitted to the side to make it more usable for smaller items that don't want to fly about inside. Now, if this van isn't the right size for you, then there's pretty much any size van you could choose from. Really, there's any Transit for any job. Now, this Transit drives pretty much like you'd expect really. The steering is quite light. The automatic gearbox we've got in this car shifts relatively smoothly, and we must admit the ride is quite firm. Now, that last thing we must point out is probably because there's nothing in the back of the van. Now, when these are set up, they are designed to be able to cope with a large amount of heavy goods in the back. So when you haven't got them in there, the ride becomes quite firm, and that's what we've got today as a result. The main engine in the Transit lineup is a 2-litre turbocharged diesel, and that's exactly what we've got here. It puts out close to 170 brake horsepower, meaning you won't be wanting for power, even when the back is loaded up. Ford claims that you'll get up to 39.2 mpg on the combined cycle, though it's likely to be a lot less when the van is full. Now, when it comes to visibility, it's a mixture of the very good and the very bad. You've got a very good sight of the road ahead thanks to this large windscreen and large side windows, but of course you can't see anything out of the back, and that's where the reversing camera comes in, at least at low speeds. Now, in addition, you do have nice large wing mirrors which do give you a better view of the sides of the van, and you can almost see right the way to the back of it, which is great at lower speeds like we mentioned. Now, because you are so upright, you do get quite a lot of wind noise generated from the windscreen, and there's also quite a lot of noise generated by those large wing mirrors. However, it's not too bad. Obviously, you've got a lot of sound coming in from the large open bay at the back, and these large 17-inch wheels do generate quite a lot of tyre roar too, but in truth, you're not going to notice this too much when you're on the motorway. Running the Transit won't cost the earth thanks to a decent economy and emissions. That said, this van weighs in over £32,000, so it's not cheap to begin with. The biggest cost is the full infotainment system, a weighty extra at £680. The biggest draw to the Ford Transit is that it's as flexible as you could possibly want. This one, for instance, is a little bit smaller, more compact, and therefore better for everyday deliveries, but likewise you could have a larger Transit that's better for taking larger items. In truth, there's really anywhere you could go with the Ford Transit, and that's what's made it so popular.